Okay, so this is a high level on how to calculate your rates for your job, your construction budget, and it's not a perfect system. Always, come to me or your agent or whoever's watching this. But this is the easiest way to get a rough idea. And then I would always put in your contract, this is based on, this could change based on where you are in the construction project, if your policy renews, if a lot of things could if rates go up and it goes into the next year of your policy. So it's a lot of things that could happen. But generally speaking, let's just say the gross revenue for a job is $1 million, and gross revenue means first dollar in. So if whether it's the homeowner or if it's the bank or an investor, you get a dollar. That's your gross revenue. From that, you take money for your subcontractors, materials, all the other things that it costs, and maybe you're left with 20 cents, right? After, so the gross revenue is the dollar. So you have a $1 million job, and you divide it by 1,000. That's the number. I don't know why. It just is the number, and you get $1,000, and then you times it by the rate. Now the question is where do you know your rate is? Well, your rate is actually on your policy, and you can always call me or whoever your agent is, and you can ask them what your rate is. Your rate could be $5. My suggestion, if your rate is $5, I would pad it. I would go $7, and you times that by the 1,000, then you have a $7,000 budget for your construction numbers. Because here's the thing: is that you don't just pay this $5 rate, you have to pay taxes and fees, and there's all these other things that are included. And if you have any uninsured subcontractors on the job site, you might have to pay for them. So there's a lot of things that can go into that. So I always would say pad it a little bit to give yourself some wiggle room. Okay. And then your builder's risk. Now your builder's risk is we're going to say that the construction cost. So that is basically if you're going to build this project, when you're right before you have to get your CO, the whole project is destroyed, right? And you might have to even rip out the foundation, and who knows, there's a million things that could happen. So what do you think as the builder is the number that you're going to need to rebuild? And you have to factor in your time. You're now going to have to be on the job site. So there's soft cost involved, right? So you have a rate for your insurance, but then you have to use a different rate that only really, you can decide based on knowing what the rate is, but then, padding it a little bit for your job and how your job works. So let's just say the construction cost is $1 million, and this time you divide it by 100. You get 10,000, and you times it by the rate. Now, builders' risks are anywhere from 25 to 40 cents, right? But it could be astronomically higher depending if you're building in a high fire zone or whatever. So whatever that rate is, you will get that from your agent, or you'll see it on the builder's risk policy, and then pad it. So, and then that would be 30 cents times 10,000 is $3,000. Now, workers' comp is a little bit harder. If you want to also add that into your construction budget. If you have a payroll of $250,000, that's your annual payroll, right? But what you want to do is you want to factor out how much actually am I going to be paying per job, right? How many hours is going to be on this job, and approximately how much am I going to pay? And maybe you just use one number for all the jobs. So maybe the number is, instead of using that, you use the $50,000. So you get $500 instead of the $2,500. And, your rate you'll have, again, it will be on your work comp policy, or you call your agent or me. And it can be anywhere they range from $8.50 to $12 or $13, depends on what you're doing, right? And then also factoring in, you might have some uninsured subs that sneak onto the job. So at audit, you might have to pay more. But right here, we're going to go for this example for a $10 rate. And so 500 times 10 is $5,000 instead of the $25,000 that we had. But you saw there at $250,000 in payroll, your workers' comp is $25,000 approximately, at this rate. So these are all examples. It isn't perfect science. It's, kind of fourth grade math at its best, but it's a way to get to a construction budget for that project, and put some really good numbers in there, I think, that are going to be pretty darn close. All right. Thanks so much. Bye.